look at this. Look at the battling, and it is a safety car. Here comes Mika into Stoke corner. Whoa! Almost. And away we go here in the Netherlands for moving down towards the next cover. Oh, and it's! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of the season as Nolo wins in Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right beneath! Oh, he goes! Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to FRLT Season 5. And it is time for no assists. Currently waiting on one team to join, and that is TDR. Because they're having some problems, which I don't know how they're having some problems, but we're waiting for somebody to start their game. I'm not sure why this is happening. The worst time for it to happen, but we are back again for no assists. Last week, Monza was very interesting, and it led to an incredible championship start. As you can see, SET took the lead of the championship. Most consistent team so far this season. They lead the championship by just 3 points. P4 and P5 finish in Monza resulted in them leading the championship out of round 1, just like with assists. EVR close behind and took the first ever victory in no assists. Rosso with a strong performance brought themselves quite close on 18 points as well. Their SKG and OMB both on 13 points. VMV on 3, UFRT on 1. Then XPG, XRA and TDR all without points. XR8 have sadly also left the championship since. They shut down, so sadly we won't be having them for the rest of the season. So we might have to wait a little while before we see the next team join. Sadly, we might have to be waiting a little while. So we've got the final driver joining just now, hopefully, if he joins at some point. Apologies, I'm just having to write. Okay, we are all good to go and to get the lobby going, but let's have a little run through. This week we come to Spa-Francorchamps, 7.004 kilometers, 4.352 miles, 19 turns, 2 dust zones down the pit straight and down that sort of back straight, I'd say, almost. And looking at our calendar, it's a little bit interesting looking at our calendar for this season because we've done Monza, it's Belgium this week. Next week, it's Australia next week, so back to another fast track, 3 medium to high speed tracks, and we're going to all of them. Singapore then, slow track technical circuit, followed by Las Vegas, Mexico. Then we go to our first Mr. Race on the 15th of the 8th. Then Great Britain, then Bahrain, then Japan, then Kota, then the Netherlands before the finale, round 13 on the 3rd of the 10th, which is ultimately a mystery race once again. So quite interesting. We have now made it to qualifying, as you'll see very shortly. Here we are, and ready to go for this race and for this qualifying. As the drivers get ready. Longest track on the calendar. It actually breaks FIA rules, by the way. It actually breaks them because no track is on the F1 calendar is meant to be longer than 7 kilometers, but it's just 4 meters longer than, of course, what you'd expect. Just 4 meters, I know, but it is. But they allow it to be on the calendar because of its historical, because of its history on the in F1. This week is interesting because, of course, no XR8 tonight. No, none. They're gone now for the rest of the season as well, so we're not going to be seeing them for a good old while. The first car out on track is an OMB driver, and that's Pablo on his way out for his first lap. OMB took pole last week. They took a strong pole position, and that was really good for them. But now, can they recreate it in Spa? Can they take another pole? Maybe. We'll have to see. Because, of course, they took a strong... I have to say, they took a very strong sort of performance in qualifying, but they fell away in the race. They couldn't recreate that P6 and P7 in the race. Not where you want to be, of course. Not where you want to be at all. That pole, of course, helped them to 13 points, but the fact that they did struggle in performance was kind of a very, I'd say, very telling for OMB that maybe their race pace wasn't exactly there. We saw they struggled with a lot of understeer on the medium tyres and on the hard tyres as well towards the end of their stint. They really struggled with understeer throughout the entire race for both drivers. And so I think that was really the main reason why they lost out on not only the win, but also a podium last week. This week is important for them, though. 13 points. They're just 8 points away from the championship leaders, SET. Let's see. I think it's also an important week as well for some other teams. For instance, teams like TDR and XPG, both looking for some points. But let's run on board with Pablo, as he's the first driver to start off a lap and the driver to start off qualifying here tonight. A lot of drivers out on track, except 2, just Julian and Trusted in the pits. And into turn 1 goes Pablo, late on the brakes. He missed the apex very slightly there. Car not exactly turning. Maybe it's, again, that slight bit of understeer hitting the car when he doesn't need it in that mid-corner speed. You can see his teammate, Zuko, behind. Both OMB drivers out first in this session. Nice to see a team running quite coordinated. And it's a 30.430 for the first sector. Not too bad from himself. I do believe that, you know, we are going to see quite a bit of strength from OMB if they can recreate another good qualifying performance here tonight. Through the corner with no name. Very nice through there. Now heading down towards Pouon. It's set that it's going to be raining, and you can see the rain is coming out onto the track already. It's already starting to rain. A lot of drivers have already started their laps, so for them, this might be the best they get in the entire session. Pablo making his way round to the right, through the left, struggling a bit with understeer there. Now heading into the double right-hand. He's got this nice right. Then he's got another right-hander. He's got to hit this right. And you see again a little bit of understeer hitting the Aston Martin just where he doesn't want it to be. You know, you don't want it to be sort of there for understeer. Now into the left-hander he goes flat out through there up to the bus stop chicane. Definitely for me, I personally find these are the toughest corners on the entire track. And through he goes. Oh, and a bit of sliding on the rim, maybe a bit of rain getting under him, and it's a 1:42.162 to start off qualifying. His teammate comes across the line, can't beat that. A 42.5 is what he set. It's not as good. He's going to have to wait there. Schumacher can only do a 42.7. This might be the best times we see for the whole of qualifying because of the rain. And across the line comes Invert. He can't do much. Kimi can't do much either. Neither can his teammate Ryan. The gap already 2 seconds. Already incredibly open. The gap is already pretty big. You see Julian starting a lap, which is quite strange to see. Didn't think he'd be starting a lap here. Got Rising Star making his way round. Let's see how he can do. And across the line, he can't go any quicker. 7th for himself. Not good to see there for himself. Very much not good to see. Myth is coming up to the line next. What can he do? He goes ahead of his teammate, though. First driver to actually beat their teammate with the slightly wet conditions. James can't do much. He can only sit in P9. It's not where you want to be. Manilow goes slowest, of all. That's not lap he wants. Speedy just beats him to that in the end. He actually was quite a bit faster, to be honest, at the end of all of that. Bourbon Boy comes back into the pits. I think we've got Julian. Not Julian. We've got Najus up to the line. Seen him a few times now, Najus. I think we saw him in assists on Wednesday as well. Bit of a tough performance for him there. And across the line, he's now going to go slowest. But as you can see, it is OMB 1-2. Have they gotten lucky with the conditions? Have they gotten lucky? That's my question. Have they gotten lucky because they're now 1-2? Is this going to be another pole position for OMB? But are they truly 1-2 on pace? That's what I want to really know is, are they really and truly and utterly 1-2 on race pace? Because we saw last week they weren't. They might have been fastest in qualifying, but that race pace really sat them at probably about 5th or 6th. And there goes Julian! Spinning round, and I can confirm that's the first spin in qualifying we've had in no assists. And it's getting too wet for the soft tyres. And that is going to be it. DRS is now disabled, and that is the sign. Oh, and that's somebody in the wall. That was Manilow in the wall. He knew that was going to be it. Oh, you can see drivers struggling to get back to the pits, but I don't think we're going to see any drivers doing any runs because of how wet it is now. There's not much point. We could see Gabriel is on his outlap along with his teammate, William. Also on his outlap, slightly later in the lap. Only 2 drivers who are going to be going for a fast lap now. So, interesting to see. Interesting to see nonetheless. Very interesting to see from these guys. Bourbon Boy now retires from the session. He doesn't believe he can do anything in the car. That's going to be really upsetting for XPG. Again, another struggle for a weekend. Especially in qualifying. Last time around, it was a double qualifying ban. So this week, it's not looking much better. But what can the Rosso drivers do? It was a good performance last week, a good P2 finish and a podium, debut podium for them. Can they do it again here today? Let's see how William's going to do. Let's actually ride on board with him, see how he does, because he's not going to be getting as much slipping on the car. But he's not going to have anywhere close to the same amount of pace. But we'll have to see his first sector. What's his first sector going to be like? Because he's struggling to get through El Rouge and Radion. Whoa! He almost loses it at the same time. So a little bit closer. His teammate Gabriel is starting his lap now. See, that's the bar Tsunami coming out. Tsunami on his way out for a lap. You can see William has retired out on track, but he's also left the session, so I think he might have just disconnected, which is unlucky. First sector-wise, what is it going to be for Gabriel? 32.388, which is about 2 seconds off of the fastest, but that at the moment would land him in about P4, P5. Oh, and he's gone off a bit there. Gabriel's still pushing his way. He's still going. Still making his way around. It's interesting to see, though, isn't it? That, the guys who got out early, OMB, might once again be on provisional pole. But do you know what this does? This makes it almost like a complete and utter. You know, it's a bit of a lottery now, isn't it, for who's actually quickest? Because OMB might be fastest, might be a 1-2, and might even stay in a 1-2. But it's very clear that they're not. You know, we might see in the race, it's clear that they're not fastest. So we're going to have to see how OMB do off of the start, see where they are. If they are quickest, I think it'll be clear to see that that's where they were sitting. But maybe not. We'll have to see. We're definitely going to have to wait and see for where they are on pace. Gabriel is in the 1:50s. He's not even going to get anywhere close. Just setting lap time for the sake of setting it. Not too bad there. I think we've got Julian on outlap. A couple of drivers out on outlaps on the intermediates. I've heard that it's going to be like this in the race as well towards the end of the race. I think a few drivers have noticed that the rain came in a bit quicker than they thought it would. So I guess being a little bit unlucky there. It hasn't particularly helped. Speedy's on his way round for his lap. Speedy making his way up the hill. Belgium much cleaner there from himself. Quite a decent amount of pace on the back of that Williams. We know that... I'm not... What car are they? Who are they in that car? Williams SET. SET have proven that they've got quite a lot of pace. Championship leaders, and there goes Speedy. He's gone off a bit. But he's proven... As trusted now, retires from the session as well. Third retirement already. But, you know, I think SET have proven in both assists and no assists that they are clearly pushing for a championship. They've clearly had a massive boost in pace from last season. Consistency seems to be there with them. But my big question is that does this race throw a spanner in the works? P4 and P10 at the moment. Not exactly where they want to be. Tsunami as well retires. Another retirement. I think this is coming down to the drivers just knowing that this isn't. There's just going to be continued rain throughout the session, and it's not going to get any better for anybody. So I'm trying to find a driver. He's not online. I don't see him online at the moment. Yeah. As you can see, Manlow retires. Quite a few retirements now. I think drivers just know that the pace is not getting better. I think they know the rain's kind of staying around the same. But I have noticed it is getting a bit brighter. And it's clearing up very slightly. As I think we just saw Najus. Not Najus. That was his teammate Julian go P14. To be honest, I think at this point it might have been better for some of these drivers to just put a lap on the board. As opposed to just retire. So now Najus retires from the session. Pretty much half the grid is now retired from the session. I think they just know that there's not going to be any improvements. I think drivers are now just going around for the sake of it. So qualifying might actually end rather early here tonight. It might end very early. Say the least. It might be a very, very short qualifying here tonight, which will be quite interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see. And yeah. Still, OMB, 1-2 for OMB. First front row lockout of the season. But very much, it looks like OMB are going to be taking a second pole to the season. I mean, to be honest, if they don't convert this 1-2, if they stay how they are and they don't convert this 1-2 into a win, or even a podium, I think it will just be a really clear showing that even though their qualifying pace might be there, even though their qualifying pace is their race pace isn't. Their race pace is far off. And I think Monza was a clear showing of that they were good. They were good at least 3. I'd say they were at closest. They were probably about maybe half a tenth of the pace. They weren't too far behind, but at worst they were really dropping 5, 6, 7. They would really be dropping between 3 tenths to about 4.5 tenths. So they were really quite a bit off of the pace. I actually checked average pace. The average pace of OMB versus SCT, or EVR versus EVR, they were just about on average between both drivers, about 4 tenths away on average. Sorry, not between both their drivers, between their best drivers. On average, it got to the point where one lap, they were actually 1.3 seconds slower in one single lap. So, on average, in the final 10 laps, it was about 4.5 tenths on average they were losing. But across the whole race, it's about 3 tenths on average per lap. And versus, for instance, SCT, they lost way more time. It wasn't 3 tenths. They were actually about almost half a second off an average pace. So, I mean, that just, I think, shows just the absolute gap that was between OMB and SCT. Even then, OMB and SCT and EVR, sort of 3 tenths to half a second splitting them, shows the absolute pace difference. Another driver retires, which means we've only got 9 drivers left who are still going around the track, lap on lap. I know we've been looking at them. We haven't looked at EVR in a little while. We haven't looked at Schumacher specifically. EVR, second in the championship, 3 points away from the championship leaders of SCT. They were chasing a win in assists at Mexico. Made a mistake. They lost it. EVR Connor lost it. This week, they now come to no assists. And, Friday, they're looking for now maybe a back-to-back win. Or at least another podium to add to their season and possibly the championship lead, because this is the perfect time for them to perform. Both their drivers in front of at least one of the SCT drivers, James ahead of Speedy and Schumacher ahead of Inver. So when it comes down to that, when you look at that stat, it's more, when you look at that sort of data, you sort of go, here, this should be where they overtake SCT in the championship. At the moment, it is only 2 points they'd gain, so they would still be 1 point behind SCT in the championship, but it would still bring them slightly closer back into contention, especially if Inver drops down a place or two and Schumacher goes up a place, or even if Schumacher goes up a place or two, that will be the championship lead for EVR. But you see, it says a lot, though, about teams. It says a lot about how not only the new point system, but also sometimes how it is, even with the normal F1 point system, sort of works. Sometimes you can win a race, but even then, you still can't lead the championship. SCT finished P4 and P5. EVR finished P1 and 1 car out of the points. If you look at that, you'd go, with the normal point system, they would have been second in the championship. With this point system, it would have been different. As qualifying now does reach its end, as I think some of the drivers will actually be quite happy for qualifying to reach its end, since not a lot has happened after the first runs. I think only 2 drivers set a lap time after it's fully started raining. But it is Pablo on pole. OMB 1-2. I'm not sure what to say about that. The fact that it is an OMB 1-2 out of round 2 and another pole position for OMB, I really do hope, I do have a lot of hope that they do turn this into a win this week. Because I think if they don't, I think this week, I think Belgium's going to be a very telling sign of where teams are in performance, roughly. And if OMB have fixed the understeer problem that they had last week, I think definitely OMB could be pushing for. They could definitely be pushing for, a win if they fix their issues from last week. If they fix them, I think OMB could definitely go for the lead of the championship out of this race if they can hold up a 1-2 finish. But even then, we don't know. It's a complete and utter lottery for who's going to go where because of all the teams. Because of where all the teams are, we don't know. Because some of the lap times were when it started to rain, others were when it wasn't raining. We don't know where all the drivers' paces, but I am going to say Schumacher is definitely up there with a chance. Same for Inver as well. I think he got a bit unlucky slightly later. So we're going to have to see who is on to take the win here tonight. I think there's a lot of drivers out of position, but let's go through the order of qualifying. It is a 1-2 for OMB with Pablo on pole, followed by teammate Zuko. Then it is Schumacher in third, Inver in fourth, Kimi in fifth, Ryan sixth, then Myth in seventh, Rising Star in eighth, James ninth, and Speedy in 10th. Then it is Manolo 11th, Najas in 12th, Gabrielle in 13th, Julian in 14th, Born Boy 15th, Tsunami in 16th, Trust in 17th, and William in 18th and last. But what an end. Not really what an end to that qualifying. What a strange qualifying. Only one real run done by drivers. They've only really done one lap where they've gone quickest. I'm not being stupid here. I mean, their first runs were their quickest runs by the end of qualifying. So it's a very, very strange situation, I'd say, that we're kind of in. I think it's a very, very strange situation we're in for this race. It's a complete lottery for who's going to win. Have OMB gone for the wet setup? Have they gone for the dry setup? Of course, I think I've seen in the chat sort of dry to wet for both sessions from Rob. Some insight for how the race is going to be. So we're going to be seeing wet towards the end of the race. Is it going to come midway? Is it going to be at the end? So our driver's going to be going for dry setups or wet setups. That's going to be the key thing here. But if it's a 50-50, if it's going to be half dry, half wet, then it is very much, I'd actually say go for the wet setup to have that improvement towards the end. And also, but if it's mostly going to be dry, then dry setup makes more sense. But who knows? This could go any sort of way. I don't know who is going to win this. It is just so incredibly close today. It's unbelievably close. I mean, I think this is the most unknown session, sort of the most unknown race I've ever commentated. I've never had a race where I just do not know who could win, who might win, who might not. Yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting to see here tonight. We go at 20:31. So that's going to be about a minute and a half's time. Now, let me know in the chat, who is your prediction? Who do you think is going to win? What is your prediction? I should say, what is your prediction? Who do you think is going to win? For me at the moment, I don't know who's going to win. I know that a lot of people from these teams are in the chat and watch these streams, so you could cheer for your own team. But based off of qualifying, if I was to say based off of qualifying, OMB's they should be able to easily get a win out of this. But if they don't, I think it would just be a clear showing that they are just qualifying higher than where they should be. And I think next week, maybe they'll do it again next week. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think next week's a tough one because it's Australia. It's a slightly different track. It's a bit more technical. Track limits is much harder than here at Spa. And, it's much harder, I'd say, for track limits. I mean, immediately, turn 1 and turn 2. Sort of turn 1 track limits. You got the quick right-hander, track limit. The fast left-right, track limits. You got track limits on sort of 4 or 5 different corners. Compared to Spa, where really it's kind of Al Rouge and Radion, just be careful on in the wet. In the dry, it's perfectly fine. There's not a lot of places where you can validate. So, same with last race. But I can hear that we are getting going for the race. Here we go. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Belgium for round number 2 of FRLT Season 5. No assists, and it is a good getaway from Pablo. He's got away pretty well. Oh, a bit of contact between Schumacher and Zuko over P2. We can see somebody's gone round. That's James, who has actually spun round off of just turn 1. And that's not a good start for him. Inver's already going down to P5 in this race. And it's not a good start for himself. He's already down another place. See Williams dropping back as well. And already a bit of an incident further back. Williams dropped down to 17th. As now you can see, here comes Schumacher. He's trying to make a move. Can he make the move? No, he can't, but we've got to look further back to Inver and Ryan, who are having a battle over P5 here. Who's going to come out on top? And I think Ryan has just been able to claim that position. And that is a very good start for UFRT. Here comes Speedy down the inside. Has he gotten a move on both? Both of the RBs. Has he made the move on both of them or not? I think he's only been able to get one of them in all of that, but he's going for the other one anyway. Down into Pouon. He's made the move just before Pouon, and that's the type of move we love to see here. And that is the type of move you really need. But OMB hold on in the lead. They hold on for now, just for now. And that is exactly what they needed. SKG though, 8th and 9th, not exactly where they want to be. Not exactly, I'd say. Definitely not exactly where they want to be in this race. But you can see still a lot is going on. Pablo leads away. Schumacher very close. Kimi's already dropped quite far behind. I think you can see. Oh, a bit deep from the man of Ryan there. Looks like SET are going to have a teammate switch. Speedy and Inver swap places. Inver's clearly far out of position. He's down to 7th already. He's very, very far out of position. Look at this. Rising Star now makes a move on his teammate Myth. That's a solid move there and a move that he needed to make when he needed to make it. Rosso way out of it at the moment. Outside of the top 10. You can see somebody's having quite a bit of lag. And that's Manalo, who's really struggling for connection. He's quite laggy. Whoa. And he's retired from the race and he's disconnected as well. To some degree, I'd say that is possibly slightly better from his connection. But Speedy makes a move back past Ryan for position. And that's a good move that he needed to make. It's a move that he wanted to make as well. And that is back up to P5 and SET pushing back for the championship lead. So at the moment, they're on for 17 points. They drop behind OMB in the standings. Schumacher still chasing the race lead, but looking at tyres, let's bring up the tyres quickly. For now, you can see very mixed. Mediums and hards, definitely mediums, less mediums out on track. But altogether, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Not too bad from anyone. Position change-wise, Speedy's had a good start, same as Julian. And also Willian as well. So a couple of drivers having a decent start. You can see Julian up into that P10 spot, into the points positions. Still, VMV, they've done alright in assists. They really want to have a bit of a better start to no assists. They seem to be sort of sitting around these low points positions. Ryan now trying to make the move back. Oh, and look at this! Absolute carnage over P4 here. Everybody's getting a bit racy. Out of the final corner, heading down towards turn 1. Schumacher's also getting a bit racy, but we've got to look further back. Oh my god, look at this. Inver's heading down the inside. Speedy's dropping down a few places. Everybody's battling for position. Speedy might lose out his place as well to Rising Star. That's not what he needs. You see, that is Ryan, who's battling up through El Rouge and Radion. It is getting very close. There it goes. I think that's Inver off the road, but look at this. DRS enabled, everybody is going absolutely crazy over the position of P4. In the end, who's going to get it? Where is everybody going to go? Ryan's trying to look for a move. He's unable to get it. But look at this! Rising Star trying to make his way past. He's unable to, but that is that. But now the gap has grown to almost 3.5 seconds. That is now 3.5 seconds between 3rd and 4th. And the front 3 have now broken away. But Schumacher, important moment for him. He's up to P2, and that's exactly what EVR would be wanting here tonight. As Smith now gets past his teammate Rising Star for P8. But look at this. Speedy trying to battle with Ryan over 5 here. There's a bit of a battle. And that's now Inver as well. Ryan and Inver battling over that P6 spot and those 7 points. Ryan's fallen back a little bit. UFRT maybe on the roll back through the grid. We'll have to see how that continues throughout the entirety of the race. But it's been a good start from OMB. P1, P3, still where they want to be. Double podium will be a way to take their second race after a disappointing first race. It'll be definitely the way to take their second race. I mean, if you think about it like that, it is, you know, it's what, 19, add on another 13, so 32 points. So, I mean, 32, that'd be a very nice 45 points after just 2 races. So exactly what they'd be wanting out of all of this. You see the gap is pretty big, but here comes the man of Schumacher. He's got that DRS. He hasn't got a lot of ERS to use, but Schumacher going for the lead. He goes for it, and he makes the move, but we've got to quickly look back because Speedy is trying to get past the man of Kimi. Round the outside he goes. Kimi's on the hard tyres. Whoa! Kimi's pushed wide, and into the gravel he goes. Oh my god, he almost took out a car while he's at it as well. And a bit of carnage through the start of Sector 2. Bit of carnage after the Kemmel Straight. Not what UFRT want particularly, but Myth as well found himself up to P5. SKG pushing for some decent points once again this week. He's on the hard tyres as well. Same as quite a few of these other drivers. Now he's just looking for a move maybe to make his way up to P9 in this race. VMV already looking at 4 points for this race, so they're already looking pretty decent out there at the moment. Schumacher though, looking on point to take another win. Take EVR's second win. They're pushing for this championship. It's still only going to bring them another 18 points as it stands. It's only going to be another 18 points to this race. And another 18 points is not enough. It's only 36. It brings them to 36 points in their campaign. 37 with fastest lap this race. But OMB will go first and will go to 45 points. I can see Bourbon Boys coming in. A couple of drivers going for the different strategy. What is the different strategy coming from Bourbon Boy? What are the tyres? There's bits of rain coming down. And it is the intermediate tyres. That is what Bourbon Boy is going to, is the intermediates. Who is going to crack first? Who's going to go for it? We see bits of rain out on track. Look at Speedy. He's under attack from Myth. Myth just easily pulls his way past and up into P4. SKG. Whoa! That's a massive moment further back for Gabriel. Almost completely loses the car. He's trying to go round the outside of the man of James. Oh, and a bit of contact there. Rising Star gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting and sliding all over the place for Gabriel. Rosso not proving to have a good second race at all. Not on their way for any points. Oh, Rising Star's gone really deep. And he's made a mistake. That's allowed James back up into P10. EVR on for double points. Might just be helping themselves a little bit. Just that little bit. Oh, and you can see it is going everywhere here and now. Rising Star not wanting to give up any places. He's pushing Gabriel off onto the gravel. I could definitely see a report coming the way of SKG. And down the inside goes Willian. He's gone too deep. They've both gone too deep. And into the gravel they go. Was that just a pure bit of just not being accurately braking? Or was it purely trying to push him out of a chance? We'll have to figure out very soon. I think we know that everybody's coming in because they are sliding a lot out there. Schumacher leads the way by over 1.5 seconds. The gap for fourth. Whoa, and Schumacher's gone very deep, and everybody's going really, really deep. Pablo as well. Myth as well. Holy Jesus Christ. Everybody is just drifting into this final corner. Is Inver going for another one? No, he's not. Everybody's going really, really deep into the braking zone. I think everybody has just braked a bit too late. Trusted just about makes it. Bourbon Boy, though, making his way round. Bourbon Boy and Kimi are making their way round. Where is Bourbon Boy going to come out? He's up into the top 10. Bourbon Boy has just pulled off the strategy of the season. He's up into the top 4. And he's chasing third. See, Zuko has only come out in P6, by the way, so that's absolutely screwed with his strategy. Same for Inver into P10. That's not worked out for himself there. But now, Bourbon Boy, what a return for him. What a return. Same for Kimmy. That undercut working out pretty well, even just by one lap. It's completely worked out for him. Bourbon Boy up to P4 in this race. And this makes it a little bit more interesting. Definitely a little bit more interesting. But Schumacher leads away, by the way, by over 3 seconds. 3 seconds he leads by. Is it going to be another dominant victory for himself? Rising Star makes it up to P12. He's got that penalty. Only driver with a penalty in this race. Let's look at this. Trusted. Makes his way past. James stayed out. So did Najus. So did Najus. Why? Why did they stay out? Oh my god. I don't know what this strategy was. I don't know where they thought that this strategy would work, but it's completely fallen apart. I have to say though, we got to talk about TDR. They missed the first race, and now they're 14th and 15th. We've got to chat about this. We've got to take a minute to talk about how TDR have just not come into the second race well at all. Didn't qualify, they didn't set a lap at all, which lost them positions. I don't know. It's strange. TDR's having a bit of a strange start to their season. Looks like no points once again, but Bourbon Boy's on it at the moment. P4. As long as he could stay here, I mean, even if he goes down to P5, that's still strong points for XPG out of the second race. An absolute turnaround for them. But we've got to talk about Myth, who has caught up to the back of Pablo. Pablo's had a really bad start to that interrun at the moment. It's not working. Here comes Speedy down the inside on Bourbon Boy. He's going to send it. He sent it. Can he make the corner? Does he make the corner? Yes, he does. And that's up to P4 for Speedy. Gabriel makes his way past Inver. So for one side of SCT, it's good. For the other, it's not good at all. Rosso will score a point at the moment. But just about, just barely. TDR sadly just racing with themselves at the moment. Just very much on their own in this race. When it comes down to that, maybe a safety car could work, I think, a few of these drivers' ways. Especially for James, Trusted. For TDR, for James, and for Najus, it would be very, very important for them, a safety car. Also for these guys, down in 12th and 13th. Myth struggling a little bit now. Speedy's starting to catch up a bit. Same for Bourbon Boy, same for Zuko. Zuko's back within a second of Bourbon Boy. Looking interesting though. It's looking very, very interesting. Very, very close. Whoa, and that's somebody who's gone off. That was Ryan who's gone off there. And a rare mistake to see from Ryan. But it's a very, very big mistake to see from Ryan because it now puts him right within the grasp of Julian in P8. VMV really trying. UFRT, I think, scored 10 points last week. Decent finish for them. Good few points, if I remember correctly. This week, it's just not going for them at all. Sorry, 7 points, I think. I can't remember anymore. Too many standings to look at and to remember. But, yeah, it just does not look so good for UFRT this week. 7 points on the way for them once again. A few driver errors which are costing them. Maybe Julian will get up to that P7. Take a few points for VMV. Interesting though. Interesting nonetheless. OMB definitely still on their way to have the best weekend. To be fair, still on their way quite clearly. 20 points scored for them this week. Sorry, not 20. 23. 23 points on their way to be scored this weekend. 2 more than SET. 2 more than SET last week. So, not too bad. But that all depends on whether Myth catches up to Pablo and can take that P2, because that will drop them 3 points. I think we all know that they're not taking the championship lead out of this unless they take a 1-2. But neither SCT don't particularly look like they're in it either. They're only on for 11 points as it stands. 11 points is not where SCT really want to be scoring, because it does mean that they drop 7 points, including with the fastest lap. That's 8. They're dropping 8 points to EVR. And for them, 8 points is massive, because it's actually the lead of the championship. They'll be 5 points behind the championship leaders, which is just not where you want to be. To drop down to second in the constructors. So at the moment, it's 36 points. OMB have 13. 7, that's 20, and then another 16, so 36. 36, 37. So as it stands, OMB and EVR will be equal. Will be equal in the championship, but the only reason why EVR will lead it is because of their 2 victories. That will be the only reason. Schumacher guiding them to another win this season. But this is what I mean. I think this is where it's going to be quite interesting. So tie on the championship lead out of round 2. SCT, I think Belgium's really thrown up a problem for our championship leaders, SCT, because they were running in the positions to still lead the championship at one point. Quite early on in the race, they were still up in the positions, I think, P5 and 6, I think they were running, so a good 17 points, which would have still put them in the lead of the championship. But now, P4 and P11, they're going to lose this championship lead. They're only going to go to 32 points after this race. 32 points out of Belgium. Puts them 5 points off the championship leaders of OMB and EVR. Well, EVR officially. And then OMB in second. Which means they're going to drop down to third in the Constructors' Championship. The only team scoring double points this race is OMB and UFRT at the moment. I think they're the only 2 scoring double points. So still only 2 teams to score double points. But what's quite sad is for OMB to catch up to the championship leaders fully, they're having to get double points. So, I mean, if we see a safety car and James is able to somehow overcome the massive gap, we could see points, but I don't see a safety car happening. The drivers are driving quite safely and quite well at the moment, but Pablo is starting to catch up to Schumacher, and not by a little bit. It's down to 1.7 seconds. It's closed in by about a second in the last lap. Also with Myth in third, he's also within a second of Pablo. So maybe Schumacher's used his tyres a little bit too early, or maybe he is saving his tyres for later on in the race. We're not even halfway through the race, by the way. Not even halfway through. Definitely like the wet conditions. I think they're starting to clear up. The rain doesn't seem to be as heavy as it was a few laps ago. It's definitely cleared up slightly. It's getting a little bit brighter, so maybe the rain will clear up slightly, possibly, by the end of the race. So we might be seeing them swap back to the lovely, lovely dry tyres where racing happens. But now the gap down to 1.1 seconds. It's getting very, very close and very, very toasty in the top 3. Speedy as well, sitting about the same distance. But any mistakes from the front 3, he'll catch right up to, and he'll be back in that chance to battle. Pablo now within a second. He's just sitting around that second gap to the race leader. Schumacher now opening that gap back up to make him work for it once again. That gap back up to 1.2, so he's lost about another 0.2 just down that straight. But we'll have to see, has Pablo found a very strong pace at the moment? I do think he has. I think he's running on a very good pace. As you can see, back below a second. Myth as well catching up to this battle. I mean, Myth has probably the best seat in the house here, because if these two battle and they collide or something happens, as we've seen a few times already this race, in these wet conditions, it means that Myth is in a perfect position to take the lead of the race. Let's see. Down. You can see the gap is just, it is massively reducing. As now make their way round, you see James, by the way, making his way round turn 1, making his way past Tsunami for P15, very far away from Trusted next. He's very, very, very far away. Good 20 seconds down the road. So I don't think he's going to be catching him by the end of the race. We're halfway through the race now. You can see the top 3 all within quite a close distance at the moment. But here comes Pablo. He's pushing. He is pushing, but again, just like we've seen, just like we saw in Monza, EVR seem to have the straight line speed, which might be the only thing that keeps Schumacher potentially in the lead of this race for now, is that he has got superior straight line speed, not by a tenth, not by 2, not by 3, but by potentially, 4/10 down the straight. That's, when he's fully deploying. Because is he fully deploying? No, he's not. He's not used any battery, while Pablo has. And so for Schumacher here, if he uses his battery, you can see he's using his battery. He builds that half a second gap. The good thing that he's got is down straights. Nobody's going to be able to overtake him. Nobody's going to be able to do nada. And now coming down the next straight, Pablo pushing all that he can. But again, you can see Schumacher just has that advantage. He's got a little bit more straight line speed, lower downforce. But here comes Pablo around the outside. He's trying to make the move. Can he make the move? A little bit deep from Schumacher there. And that is Pablo through and into the lead of the race. And that is Pablo up into P1. And a very, very good move from himself. You see Gabriel making his way past Kibby for P9. That's again another good move to see. 2 moves in the same corner on the same lap. Very, very nice to see. That's what we like to see. But Gabriel up to P9 now. Rosso, they might have been hurt after the first race. They might be hurting because of the much lower performance, but they're still going to bring themselves some small points, but some points nonetheless. When points looked like they were out of the question. Schumacher, though, struggling to keep up as the rain is starting to get a bit heavier now. See, Schumacher just is not able to keep up with Pablo as much. He's draining a bit of battery there. Making his way round. Heading up towards the bus stop chicane. Has he got it? No, he hasn't. Now heading down towards the Kemmel Straight once again. Lap 13 of 22. The rain intensifies, but Schumacher has been able to keep within half a second. And you see again that straight line speed. This way he's pretty dominant. Oh, and a little bit off into the gravel for Schumacher there. A little bit too much. Off into the gravel, a little bit too much there. Schumacher is definitely I think he's definitely regaining his pace a bit. I think he's been saving his tyres a bit over the last few laps. That's why Pablo's been able to catch up and overtake. But the good thing Schumacher's got now is he's got that little bit of extra tyre wear advantage. Most likely he's got a little bit of an advantage. As we can see, Tsunami has a bit of a moment in Sector 1. Yellow flags. I have to say though, it's been a bit quiet. No sort of big moves in the last 2 laps. No big moves in the last 2-3 laps. I think it's pretty close. Speedy is catching up, by the way. He has caught up a little bit. Down to 2.2 seconds. He's closed in by about 8/10 since the last time I looked. And that is coming down. He does seem to be having quite a good bit of straight line speed as well. So maybe we'll have a 4-way fight for the win. Tsunami going slowly. He's got wing damage as well. He's on the wet tyres. He feels like the wet tyres are the way to go in this race. Are the wet tyres the way to go? Might they be the way to go? I'm not sure. The rain does seem to be getting a bit heavier. Is it heavy enough for the full wet tyres? I do not know as of yet. We'll have to see how the drivers do, because we've seen a few times the grip is starting to go a little bit, as now we can see Gabriel. While the grip is going, Gabriel still makes moves. And that is a very good move on Julian. And a good comeback for Rosso today. On their way to get a nice 3 points to at least reclaim their weekend slightly and still to take a decent points finish. The hunt for P7 though is going to be a little bit harder because he is 4.6 seconds up the road. So, now, making his way round. Tsunami now retires. TDR's weak. Just can't get much better at the moment. It just really cannot. But the person I want to look at is actually Bourbon Boy in all of this. Bourbon Boy is the guy that I want to look at because he's been able to hold on to this P5 incredibly well. The rain's getting a bit heavier again. I've just noticed it is starting to get a bit heavier. But he's actually been able to hold on to this P5 incredibly well. He lost P4 very quickly. But he's been able to hold on to this P5. And he's really been happy sitting here. He lost P3, lost P4. But P5, he's been sitting here now for the last sort of 7-8 laps. And he's just been very quiet, but very nicely holding on to this position. Ryan's getting within a second. So I have to say at the moment, it's looking like a top quality from XPG on strategy. Exactly what they needed. Of course, Manilo DNF'd because of connection problems, but Bourbon Boy is back in, and he is trying to take those 10 points. Whoa, and a big slide for himself. He's still able to stop Zuko. And the one annoying thing for Zuko here is he's actually losing time to Speedy in front. It's gone from being about 3 seconds already up to about 6.3. The gap is just massively increasing. You know, it's just going up and up. It's sort of been about 1.5 seconds the last 2-3 laps. So at the moment, Zuko is losing huge amounts of time, and it's just not working out. Schumacher, by the way, now he's just about on that 1 second fence. He's almost losing that lead here. Will OMB convert a pole into a victory here tonight? Can they do it? 7 more laps to go. That's soon to go down to 6. We will have to see. We will wait and see how they will do. It's proving to be very, very close at the moment. I think the margins are definitely there. I think Schumacher showing that EVR might not be entirely covered to get this victory. Maybe he pushed a bit too early. Maybe he's saving his tyres. Speedy is starting to catch up. He's brought the gap below 2 seconds. Big lock up for Schumacher into turn 1. Something is just not right on that EVR car. Something is going wrong, and it's clearly showing because he's dropping off quite heavily. 3/10 now in just 3 corners. Something's not working for EVR, and Schumacher gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. That's going to drop him down to P4. Who is going to be leading this championship now? I do not know. Myth up to P2. He makes that important move for P2. And now he chases the lead of the race. Right on the board. Ryan gets a 3-second time penalty as well to add on to that. Doesn't help. Myth making his way down towards Puon now. I think Myth has a chance at the win, but he needs to close that gap down by about at least another 4 tenths to really come back into this. He needs another 4 tenths to come right back into this race. If I'm being honest, he needs another 4. You know, he needs to bring that gap down to about 7 tenths. But as long as he can hang in at about a second behind, he should be okay. But he's got to start closing that gap at about lap 20. He's really got to close that gap. Schumacher, though, not having a good run at the moment. He's going to be P4. I think that's pretty much confirmed. We know he's going to be P4 with his penalty. Born Boy's not helping Azuko at the moment. Somebody's gone around. That's Kimi that's gone into the wall on those wet tyres. He's in the wall. Slowly cruising along. He's got wing damage. That's wing damage you don't want to have at this point. And you can see Zuko trying to make the move past Bourbon Boy. Still, Bourbon Boy not allowing that move at all. Not allowing it for a single chance. Here comes Ryan down the inside of Zuko. Ryan has that penalty though. He's trying to get a bit of battling. He wants to see Zuko make a mistake. But of course, it's only 2 points up for grabs. But for OMB, it's a really important 2 points because as it stands, it's 25 points at the moment. 25, add on the extra point, that's 26 points for them. Which is 39 points in total for their campaign, which would mean, as it stands, they will take the lead of the Constructors' Championship. So these 2 points are incredibly important for OMB. And you can see that Ryan has a little bit of a different idea for it. He has a very different idea. He wants to get past. Can he make his way past? Will he make his way past? That's the big question. Will he make his way past or not? Born Boy now, by the way, sits 10 seconds away from P4. Now, afraid to say, Schumacher is in trouble. Once again, he's going to get overtaken again. Whoa, and a big slide for Speedy, but he's in trouble once again. He looks like he's going to drop down at a 3rd place. We know at the end of the race he will with this penalty, but looks like he's going to drop off of the podium. And EVR will count and we'll say goodbye. But it means we will officially have 3 new teams on the podium here in no assists. That means 6 teams would have stepped on the podium in just 2 races. Which I have to say is incredible. OMB, SKG and SCT all to step on the podium. In just 2 races have 6 of the 10 teams. Or, sorry, 6 of the 9 teams now to step on the podium. Only VMV, XPG. Whoa, and it's a massive slide. Speedy's all over the back of Schumacher, heading down this straight. Can he make it work? Can he get past? No, he can't. He's going to have to wait even longer to make that move. Sliding, sliding, and sliding is all that he's getting. Whoa, and almost making his way past. Speedy's trying to get past Schumacher all that he can because he's losing so much time. He's 3 seconds behind now. Myth going down the inside into P1. He sends it. And that is a ballsy move. But it's a ballsy move for the podium and a move that he needed to make. That's up another position. And onto the podium for SCT. It's claiming their first podium in no assists. They're on their way to claim it. Still, I mean, 3 teams at the moment. 3 new teams. 6 out of 9 teams racing are going to be claiming a podium only VMV, TDR, and UFRT are yet to get a podium. XVG, VMV. XVG, VMV, UFRT, and TDR. 4 teams, sorry. 4 teams. Speedy gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Whoa, and he's had a massive loss there, and he just braked too late. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. That means Schumacher is back onto the podium, and that is going to be a lovely, lovely victory. And that's a lovely sort of mini win in EVR's mind. It's a lovely, lovely win for them. So it's a lovely, lovely kind of win for themselves, back onto the podium. Looked like he was out of the chance. Now it's back on. The podium would be massive for EVR to continue their run, to get up to 31 points in their championship campaign. Will really help them. SKG looking for the same luck as well and all of that. We got to talk about the race lead, actually. Pablo might lead, but he's only 7 tenths ahead. Well, that's now 8 tenths, but he's not too far ahead of Myth. He's been able to catch up quite a bit in this race. He's caught up quite a bit. Now, even though he's just about a second, he is starting to catch up. Ryan gets another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Track limits catching out UFRT here tonight. And that's going to actually put him down to P... Currently going to put him down to P9. Making their way around onto lap 20. Lap 20 of 22. 3 laps remaining in this race. The wet conditions continue to stay in this race. Battle over P5 is definitely going on at the moment. Further back, and the battle for the lead. Here comes Myth. He wants to make that move for the lead. Here comes Myth. Does he choose the outside line? Yes, he does. Trying to go around the outside. Has Pablo gone too deep? No, he hasn't. He's just been able to stop the car in time. Is Myth going to send it into the next corner? Can he send it down into the downhill right-hander? Can he make the move? He's going to have to wait a little bit longer. Speedy gets another 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. He's done it again. Twice in this race. But for SET, this is chaos. It's absolute chaos. That puts him P9. SET will confirm... It confirms out of this race that he will lose. They will lose the lead of the championship. And might even drop down to P4. P4, P5 in the constructors. This race is really falling apart. Whoa! Speedy and Schumacher side by side into the next chicane. Who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be Speedy? Yes, it is. Speedy just stays in front, but his penalty is still too high to really do anything about it. It's not really helping him in this race, but look at the line. Behind Bourbon Boy, he's got Zuko behind him, he's got Ryan behind him, he's got Gabriel, and he's got Inver. The main thing here is that, yes, Ryan has a penalty, but the biggest thing here is actually Zuko. Because if Zuko loses another 2 places, if he drops down to P, let's say, by the end of the race, P8. If he drops down to P8 in this race, that could be quite harmful. Only 3 points, meaning only 21 points, 22 points scored for the team of OMB. 2 laps remain as they go on to lap 21. Bourbon Boy has done an absolute miracle. He is doing an absolute miracle drive, and something I cannot believe I'm seeing in that Ferrari. He's driving the absolute tires off of that car. He really is. He's doing something very different with the car that I would not expect to see. As now we can see the change for P3. Schumacher back up into P3. An EVR podium is going to come their way. And that's a big one for EVR. It recovers their championship chances. It really does. Here comes Inver trying to get past Gabriel. Gabriel cuts the corner. 3-second time penalty. So does Inver though. And that means Zuko is cleared to now try and get past Bourbon Boy onto the final lap of the race. That means it is clear and it is going to be an easy one. But can Zuko do it? Can he weave that Aston Martin past the Ferrari? Can he do it? He's got a lap and a half to go. The laps are disappearing. They've gone by quite quickly in this race. Who is on to take P5? And who is on to take the win as well? So those are the two hottest battles at the moment in this race. Because we can see Myth is getting very, very close. He's getting within half a second. William gets a penalty as well. It's not going to help him out. Gabriel also with that penalty. Not going to help himself at all. James moves up into P12. James? He moves up to P13 in this race. And that's a slow Mercedes. That's Kimi who's spun. Keeps spinning. But onto the final lap we go. It is the battle for the win. The battle for the lead of the race. And to take the second win ever in no assists. Who is going to do it? We saw SKG do it in assists. Can they do it in no assists and claim another win? Who's going to do it? Oh! Myth has gone very, very wide. He's gone very, very far off. That's going to cause him to lose quite a bit of time. Can he do it down the Kemmel Straight? No, he's not. He's not able to make the move. He does have the pace. He does seem to have that pace advantage. He's not been able to make that move just yet, but we've got to look back to Speedy. Is he going to make a move on Schumacher? There's not much point. The next position is Bourbon Boy over P5. Zuko chasing all the way down the straight. And unable to make the move. It's going to take even longer. Pablo still leads the way. Myth with a 3-second time penalty. The mistake of the season and of the race has come for Myth. It looks like it will be an OMB victory. Speedy gets another 3-second time penalty. Surely he's got to be outside of the top 10 now, or at least 10th. We'll have to see, but OMB. Pablo with an absolute incredible race. He took pole, and he's going to take a win and convert it into a win. OMB couldn't do that last race, but they're going to do it this race. He just has a few more corners to go. Just the bus stop chicane. As he heads up the hill into the bus stop chicane he goes. One corner left to go as he rounds that final corner and comes up to the line. It is Pablo to win in Belgium in FRLT. No assists. And OMB to win in the second race and a comeback for them here tonight. Schumacher's going to finish third. A lucky podium. And that is the way to go in. Another 10-second time for Speedy for an unserved penalty. Bourbon Boy's going to make his way round, but because of penalties, he's going to be P4. And what a defense he put on here tonight. What a defense nonetheless. Inver finishes P6. Gabriel P7. Ryan P8. Speedy finishes 10th with Julian in 9th. Is William going to get that position? No, he doesn't. He just finishes a bit behind. Then we've got Rising Star in 12th. And that pretty much rounds off the grid with James Trusted, then Kimi, who has finished the race. We've got a slow Najas making his way round. Got James making his way round for P13. But what a win it is from Pablo. What a win. And a win nonetheless. Exactly what you love to see. It is really what you love to see. Absolutely crazy race at the end. Absolutely crazy. What a top race from OMB here tonight. I have no words for how OMB raced. No words. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible to OMB. Also to SKG and EVR to pull off on the podium. 2 new teams step onto the podium this season. Those 2 new teams being OMB and SKG, who both find themselves on the podium for the first time this season. And that is a podium they'll remember, and that is an OMB victory. They will remember 2 winners in 2 races now. Same with assists. We've officially had 4 different winners across assists and no assists. 4 different winners. Absolutely crazy to see this level of racing. I mean, 4 different teams have won 4 different races across no assists and assists. That's insane. It is insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely just insane. I have no words for it here tonight. No words at all. Fast lap does go to Schumacher, so he does gain that lovely 14th point. And let's go through to look at the grid. It is Pablo wins from pole, followed by Myth, Schumacher, Born Boy, Zuko, Inver, Gabriel, Ryan, Julian, Speedy, then William, then Rising Star, then James, Trusted, Kimmy, Nagus, and then the retirements being Tsunami and Manalo. What an end to a race that was. A race that I did not expect to end that way. I have to say, I did not expect tonight's race to end like that in such dramatic style. So close. To say, pretty difficult. Pretty difficult in the end. Pretty difficult race. Very difficult racing conditions for everyone. I think everybody can agree on that. Very difficult racing conditions for a lot of the teams here tonight. In that rain, in qualifying, and in the race. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. Also, click on that notification button about all the content we're going to do. We're going to be doing from streams, shorts, and videos. Also, one big shout out to SimRacing Center. Also, make sure to go check us out on Twitter at FRLT F1. And also, join our Discord server if you're interested. I think the link is down below. It should be working. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much. Let's take one last look at the calendar before we go. And ultimately, as you can see, we've now completed Monza and Belgium. Next week, we go to the absolute bottom of the planet, Australia. Then we'll be going to Asia for Singapore. Then we'll be going Las Vegas. We're going to North America for Las Vegas and Mexico. We'll then be having our first mystery race of the no assist season. Followed by then a great home race for many, Great Britain. Then we're going to the Middle East for Bahrain. Then back to Asia for Japan. Then back to America for COTA. Then back to Europe for round 12 in the Netherlands. And then to end off the season, it is a mystery race. The teams will only find out just 48 hours. We'll find out just 24 hours before the race. Not 48, I was thinking 48, but 24 hours before that race of what track it is. Ultimately, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye. Look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car! Here comes Mika into Stoke Corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for